We'll be singing These Are They. It was on Thursday morning, out on a lonely isle, in the beauty of the dawning, as John was in exile, he heard a voice resounding like the rolling sea, like mighty billows abounding. John fell down on his knees.
These are they
From every nation
who have washed
their garments white,
coming up through
great tribulations,
to a land of pure delight, coming up
from every nation
on the way,
to the crowning program,
coming up through
great tribulations,
to a land of pure delight.
saw the tribes of Israel coming up before the throne of the stories grand to tell, of the burdens they had borne. I saw another marching crowd of the number none has known, shouting
Glory,
loud and long as they marched around the throne.
these are they
From every nation
who have washed
their garments white,
coming up through
great tribulation,
to a land of pure delight, coming up
from every nation
on the way,
to the crowning program,
coming up through
great tribulation.
to a land of pure delight.
It was on Thursday morning, out on a lonely isle, in the beauty of the dawning, as John was in exile, he heard a voice resounding like the rolling sea, like mighty billows abounding. John fell down on his knees.
These are they
From every nation
who have washed
their garments white,
coming up through
great tribulation,
to a land of pure delight, coming up
from every nation
on the way,
to the crowning program,
coming up through
great tribulation,
to a land of pure delight. These are they
from every nation
who have washed
their garments white,
coming up through
great tribulation.
to a land of pure delight.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. Now, when we begin to search the scriptures for what's needed for salvation, we encounter several things. One of the most pivotal statements made by Yahshua the Anointed coincides with a statement made by Moshe in the Old Testament. Yahshua says, you shall love Yah with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. In these days and times, the word love has become a difficult concept to explain. We often hear how people love this thing or that thing, or how people fall in and out of love with one another. So how does one really love with everything they have? Another statement made by Yahshua in the New Testament exemplifies the difficulty that exists when it comes to evaluating one's love and effort in worship and service. Yahshua says in Matthew 7 and verse 21, not everyone that says to me, Yahshua, Yahshua, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father which is in heaven. He goes on to say that many will say to him in that day, Yahshua, Yahshua, have we not prophesied in your name? And in your name cast out devils, and in your name done many wonderful works. It is written that he would then profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity, which is lawlessness. Yahshua also says in John chapter 4 and verse 23, that the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshipers of the Father will worship in spirit and in truth. With these things being considered, we must examine our own hearts and minds to see if we have truly put forth that type of effort. We will begin today's sermon in Zechariah chapter 7, and we're going to start with verses 1 through 10. And today's sermon is entitled, In Truth and Spirit. In Truth and Spirit, and we're going to begin in Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 1.
And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius that the word of Yahweh came unto Zechariah in the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Cheslu. When they had sent on to the house of Elohim, Sherzer and Regamelech, and their men to pray before Yahweh.
All right, in the very first verse, And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius. So they are under the rulership of another entity, that the word of Yahweh came unto Zechariah in the 4th day of the 9th month. And then it says, even in Chisleu. This is what the pagan names for that month was. Now, the children of Israel have begun to pick up all of these pagan names because of various captivities. So various captivities, we pick up these pagan names, and then people then take them and continue to use them. These are things that we have to deal with in Babylon, and we have to know that when we come out of those things, to drop and leave those things where they are. And we're going to have that same problem when we leave out of this Babylon, that there are a lot of things that we have to deal with, that we have been made to deal with here, that we're gonna have to drop coming out of here. Go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 3. And to speak unto the priests which were in the house of Yahweh of hosts, and to the prophets, saying, should I weep in the 5th month, separating myself as I've done these so many years? Then came the word of Yah of hosts unto me, saying, speak unto all the people of the land, and to the priests, saying, when you fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even those 70 years, did you at all fast unto me?
So now he says, even those 70 years. So this fasting has been going on for all this time. And now Yahweh asked the question, did you really do that for me? Who was this fasting really for? What was this fasting really for? But he let this continue for all this time. This is a great amount of time. Go ahead.
Even to me, verse 6. And when you did eat, and when you did drink, did not you eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Should you not hear the words which Yahweh had cried by the former prophets, when Jerusalem was inhabited and in prosperity, and the cities thereof round about her, when men inhabited the south and the plain?
And what this is saying, Israel has a problem of not hearing when we have prosperity. See, when we have things, we have a level of worship and servitude that we think is acceptable. And it is a shame that Yahweh has to then take everything from us, knock us down, remove some situations for us to realize that, oh, my servitude ain't on the level that it's supposed to be on. But it would be wonderful if we could realize that and still keep our stuff. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And the word of Yahweh came unto Zechariah, saying, thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, saying, execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother. And oppress not the widow, nor the fatherless, the stranger, nor the poor. And let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart.
So you have two very, very strong concepts in this. This whole, in the beginning here, he's already saying, did you at all do these things to me? Because we get off into a point where times we will say Yahweh's name, we'll do all of these things, but we're still, for the main part, serving ourselves. But we use Yahweh's name while we're serving ourselves. So then you have this thing where he then says, and oppress not the widow. What Yahweh has, and you'll find out this concept of not oppressing the widow. A widow is a woman whose husband has passed away. So at this point, she is defenseless. She doesn't have the protection that she had before, having, you know, this man in her house. And you'll find that Yahweh is a great indignation for people who do things against the powerless. You'll find in here where it says, don't lay a stumbling block before the blind. What is that about? You know he can't see. Why would you turn around and do that? So it's like that same concept of doing things to children. Here it is. This is a powerless entity, and you're supposed to be a grown, knowing individual. And if you allow those things to happen, Yahweh has great indignation against those things. So, and you'll find that concept from the beginning of this book to the end of this book, where the powerful mistreat the powerless, and it causes great anger against Yahweh. We recently was brought to light about a situation of some people that used to go to church with us. A lot of times when people are not comfortable around you and you don't really understand why, you give it some time and you'll figure out why. These people, every time you saw them, they would be Yahweh this, Yahweh that. They'll shalom you and down there break your ribs. I mean, they hug you tight. Come to figure out, they had been oppressing this widow because they've been stealing this lady's money for about 5 or 6 years. Now, they probably done hit this lady for about over $100,000. All the way down to the lady got $15 in her account. Then they dropped the old lady, tried to drop the lady off at somebody else's house. After they done went through probably at least over $100,000. Left $15 in the, meanwhile, these are all baptized people. The widow is baptized, and the 2 people that was robbing the blind was also baptized. So you have the outer part of saying that we're Hebrews and that we're going to walk in this word. And then you have the inner part of our dealings and what it is we do. So once all of this comes to light, you look up and you say, oh, I see why they wasn't comfortable around me. See, you have to understand what makes people comfortable. When you go to when you look at what the televangelists put out on Sunday morning, Creflo says, God ain't angry with you. God ain't mad with you. So it makes those people feel comfortable even though they're doing all the deeds that they're doing. Well, if you come in here every Sabbath and we keep reading these commandments, we keep reading these things, you start to understand why those people were starting to feel uncomfortable because they knew they were robbing that old lady. And every Sabbath, I'm going into these commandments. We going into walking into righteousness, and we going into all of these things. Well, they're not feeling comfortable as I keep reading these things. They're not feeling comfortable. They got to get the hell out of Dodge. Then you understand why. When they ran out of money to steal. And this was all done to a baptized widow. So now you got several levels of that. A widow and then baptized is something that people just do not understand. Let's go to Exodus chapter 22. And what's interesting, the very hold your place right there, because we're going to eventually come back to Zechariah 7. But go to Exodus chapter 22. What's interesting is the same ones. You know how long, if this has been going on for 5 or 6 years, you know how many lies you have to tell to steal over $100,000? But the very ones will accuse you of telling lies and fallacies the whole time while they lying and stealing and using Yahweh's name while they doing it. Exodus chapter 22, and let's read verses 22 through 24.
You shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry, and my anger shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless.
So Yahweh has great indignation from the beginning of this for dealing with a widow, this powerless woman. And if you read it, you can see who Yahweh is really dealing with them. He says in verse 24, and my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows. So then it's dealing with a man. It says your wife shall be a widow. It was never even considered that a woman would mistreat a widow. That you would think that a woman would understand that situation, that a woman would not even enter into a situation where she would begin to oppress a widow. So then you have to consider a whole nother aspect of this, because this is written from the position of the man oppressing the widow. when it's saying your wife shall become widows. You know, if men commit this act, you have to add a whole nother aspect when it's a woman that has done that to a widow. Let's go back to Zechariah chapter 7.
All right, 71. Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 11. But they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear.
Right. And as you're trying to talk to people and you're trying to admonish them for the things that they are dealing with, people sometimes get to the point where they're not going to hear any admonishment. They're not going to hear any of those things. So what it does is it puts Yahweh in another gear to have to deal with them. Because at this point, we won't be admonished. Nobody can tell us anything. We won't be talked to. We won't receive any counseling. So now we put Yahweh in a position where he's got to send an angel. All right, go take care of this situation. And you're not going to like how that angel take care of that situation. I can pretty much guarantee that. You are not going to like that. Go ahead.
Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which Yahweh of hosts has sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from Yahweh of hosts. Therefore it has come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, says Yahweh of hosts.
So now it gets to a point where Yahweh said, you didn't hear any of the correction that I attempted to give to you. Now, people say, well, Yahweh ain't talked to me. No. He got servants for that. See, the correction that Yahweh attempted to give you was through his servants. So then when you don't hear that, then here you starts to offer up your prayer and Yahweh won't listen. He said, no. They wouldn't hear me. I'm not going to hear them. Go ahead.
But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate.
All right, go to Zechariah chapter 8 and read verses 16 and 17.
Verse 16. These are the things that you shall do. Speak you every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. And love no false oath, for all these are things that I hate, says the Yahweh.
Now, when you start talking about things that Yahweh hate, you know that rosy red picture that we got on Sunday morning said God love everybody and everything. I mean, he just full of love. He just love everything. He don't hate nothing. But when we get in this book, we find something altogether different. He said point blank, Yaakov have I loved and Esau have I hated. And he said he hated them before they ever did anything because he understood the spirit of Esau. So he knew what he was going to do. When there's an evil presence, or evil spirit that is present, there ain't no good going to come out of that. And if we pay attention to things, we can tell who has an evil spirit toward us. All you got to do is watch. All you have to do is pay attention and you begin to see some things. Verse 16 said, these are the things that you shall do. Speak you every man the truth to his neighbor. When I originally did this sermon, I went back and went over the things and I said, man, I did this wrong. It was supposed to be in spirit and in truth. And by that time I said, Leah, did you send it out? She was like, yeah. Then I went through it again and I realized why Yahweh was like, no, put truth first. I thought it was a mistake. No. It wasn't. Because one of the things that we don't consider when you read in Revelations and we talk about all of these people who commit these acts will have their part in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, we don't even consider that line is within that list. And we will lie like a Persian rug. Lies come off our tongue like velvet. We've gotten accustomed to, because corporate America said it's so much lying that these people set up their business situations to where you end up lying on a daily basis just between 9 to 5. And that ain't nothing personal. That had nothing to do with you. They got their business structure set up to where if you tell a certain amount of truth at your job, they're going to call you back to the office. See, I learned I can't take those jobs. It's certain jobs they recommend. Hey, we think you'd be good for this. No, that job requires lying. I'm not going to be able to take that one. And see, there's some people that took some jobs, worked there for about a week and find out, man, I told more lies in that week than I did the last 10 years. Look, I resigned. I cannot continue to work here because I saw my bank account increase and I saw my spirit decrease. I can't continue to do this. Yeah, I might have money, but it ain't gonna do me no good rolling around in the lake of fire. Then you have the next part of verse 17. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. You can tell that there is evil thought processes going on when you look at the countenance of somebody's face. See, when you see all of those things on their face, it is letting you know the evil spirit, the evil imagination that they are having against you at that point. There was a situation when I was younger. Had I paid attention to the looks that were on some people's faces, there's a butt whooping that I wouldn't have got. I ended up in a fight that didn't have nothing to do with me. 10 dudes bounced me around South DeKalb Mall. Wasn't even my fight. But I looked, and the countenance on their face showed that they had wicked thought processes against me and this individual I was standing with. I say friend, and I loosely use that term, friend, because he knew exactly what he had done to those individuals. He knew exactly why they was pissed off. He knew exactly why the countenance on their face was so wicked, and they were having these wicked imaginations. He took off running and left me to take that whooping by myself. And I had nothing to do with that situation. But had I paid attention to the countenance on their face, I would have understood the wicked imagination that was going on in their mind. And you're going to have to learn to pay attention to that, because everything is not going to be a situation where people with their mouth may say one thing to you, but you feel that wicked imagination and that wicked spirit that's coming toward you. Better learn to remove yourself. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 6.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 1. My son, if you be surety for your friend, if you have stricken your hand with a stranger, you are snared with the words of your mouth. You are taken with the words of your mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver yourself. When you are come into the hand of your friend, go, humble yourself, and make sure your friend. Give not sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provides her meat in the summer, and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come as one that travaileth, and your want as an armed man.
And your lack as an armed man. So it's one of those things where we have to put a balance between our personal little time that we want to have and the things that we want to achieve. And for some people, there's this great achievement, but then there's still this enormous amount of personal time and personal this that they want to have, personal just being able to enjoy every bit of everything that they can have, but still want to achieve all of these things. And at some point, you're going to have to put those things into subjection. Go ahead.
Verse 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walks with a froward mouth. He winks with his eyes, he speaks with his feet, he teaches with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart, he devises mischief continually. He sows discord.
And sowing discord is going and telling different versions of stories to different people. And you find out and you start listening to people where a version of the story was offered to this man where it looks like I'm at fault. Then a version is offered to me where it says this man's at fault. Then a version is offered to somebody else, you know, where it changes and it jumps around, but you'll find out why a lot of times people offer those stories and sow discord. Because when those people, how you end all of that, when those people talk to one another, they're going to be able to find out, hey man, it's parts in your story that keep changing. But the part about sowing discord is what it's supposed to do is to keep you from talking to those individuals. And most of the time it works. Because when somebody hears something about somebody, instead of dealing with it, they'll go, I heard they do such and such. Have you talked to them about that? Have you considered that that was told to you so you wouldn't talk to that person? Because then when you talk to that person, you find out a whole nother aspect of that story that you heard. Right. So that was told to you so you wouldn't talk to him. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy.
And people don't consider when that show up. Why this keep happening? Why that keep happening? Right. It's righteous judgment. Go ahead.
These 6 things does Yahweh hate.
Wait a minute. Yahweh hates something? Once again, we hear nothing but God is love. God is love. And if you hear that thing on Sunday morning, they tell you, look, what are you warring for? Jesus done fought the battle. He won. You ain't got to do nothing else. That is to make them feel comfortable in what it is they're doing. If you feel comfortable in what it is you're doing, you're never going to change. Go ahead.
Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, an heart that deviseth wicked imaginations.
You find the same thing start to show up over and over. A heart that devises wicked imaginations. See? When people believe folks have something against them and they ain't thinking about it. Go ahead.
Feet that be swift in running to mischief. A false witness that speak lies, and he that sows discord among brethren.
You then see those same things coming up that Yahweh has serious indignation with. Not things that man has indignation with. These things Yahweh says he hates. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 1. Jeremiah chapter 1, and let's read, start at verse 1.
The words of Yirmiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of Yahweh came in the days of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Yehudah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Yehudah, unto the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Yehudah, unto the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you. and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations.
Right. Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. Before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. This is before he has done anything, before he has ever even been conceived. Yahweh has already decided the job that he's going to have. So you have all of these people that want to backtrack their tribal chart. They want to go to DNA.com. They want to go and figure out all these things. Yahweh already knew you before your mama and daddy met at the Texaco. He already said them two right there going to have a baby. So I got to plant. Now, he might not was supposed to do nothing, but plant that seed in there to make you. That's it. He did his job. Now he can get the hell on. Y'all were like, good job. Now get the hell on. Because you ain't going to do nothing but cause my servant problems if you stay here. Now get on. Go on now. Go on. Get the hell on. Here goes some money. Go. Bye. So while people trying to backtrack everything, y'all already know who your daddy was going to be and knew who your mama was going to be. You ain't got no choice in this matter whatsoever. So trying to chart that whole tribal chart, it is a waste of time. But if you got time to throw away, be my guest. But Yahweh ain't confused who you are and what tribe you belong to. And at the end of the day, it don't mean a hill of beans. How you gonna walk? Go ahead.
Verse 6. Then said I, Adonai Yah, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But Yahweh said unto me, say not, I am a child, for you shall go to all that I shall send you, and whatsoever I command you, you shall speak.
And understand, this is a big thing in Israel. Say not that I am a child, because Israel, we have respect of persons when it come down to our ages and things like that. Israel will call you to the table in a minute. It was a part of that they was dealing with Yahshua. You ain't yet 40 years old. Have you met Abraham? Oh, Israel got real respect to persons when it comes down to age. So to turn around and put this brother in a position where he has to call out judgment upon elders and priests, oh, that causes people some problems. It's one thing for you to chastise them. It's something altogether different from a younger person to chastise them. Ooh, they don't like that. Go ahead.
Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, says Yah. Then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and Yahweh said unto me, behold, I have put my words in your mouth. See, I have this day set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant.
This is a whole lot of power that he's given a man, not a king, not somebody who has this physical power. See, I have set this day, I have set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant. This is a whole lot of power given to a regular servant to utter judgment against people more powerful than he. Jump to verse 17.
You therefore gird up your loins and arise, and speak unto them all that I command you. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound you before them.
Right. Do not be afraid of the looks on their faces, because one thing you realize, the looks on their faces is telling you that they got wicked imaginations against you. But Yahweh said right off the rip, don't be afraid, because if you do, I'm going to confound you in front of them. Do the job that I sent you to do. Go ahead.
For behold, I have made you this day a defense city, and an iron pillar, and brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Yehudah, against the princes thereof, against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, says Yahweh, to deliver you.
They shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail. Let's go to chapter 7. Jeremiah chapter 7. And let's read verses 1 through 16. See, it is written in here, it says, they shall come against you as a judgment unto them. So Yahweh ain't got to send you to utter judgment against somebody. He gonna let them come against you. Jeremiah chapter 7, and let's start that at verse 1.
The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, stand in the gate of Yahweh's house, and proclaim there this word, and say, hear the word of Yah, all of you of Yehuda, that enter in at these gates to worship Yah. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Trust you not in lying words, saying, the temple of Yah, the temple of Yah, the temple of Yah are these. For if you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute judgment between a man and his neighbor, if you oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, and shed not innocent blood in this place, neither walk after other gods to your hurt, then will I cause you to dwell in this place.
Now, he's saying I'm going to cause you to dwell in the place. It's hard for Israel to understand that because they're already in the place. What you talking about? It's hard for Israel to understand. Yahweh saying, look, if you do these things, I'll cause you to dwell in the place. He's talking about, man, I'm already in the place. I already got the place. Now, you don't understand. I'm about to kick you out. See, this is the part that we miss. So there are people that have been forced to move, and they thought it was their decision to move. No, Yahweh made them move. I done dealt with enough of this. Bye. Go ahead.
In the land that I gave to your fathers forever and ever. Behold, you trust in lying words that cannot profit. Will you steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, and burn incense unto Baal, and walk after other gods whom you know not, and come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, we're delivered to do all these abominations?
Right. This is what folks do when they say, well, you know, Yahweh knew what kind of person I was. That's like when people get married and they say, well, he know I didn't cook when I got with him. So you supposed to not cook for the next 30 years? And you have brothers that say, well, she knew what kind of man I was when she got with me, so she didn't expect you to grow? So you supposed to stay the same for the next 30, 40, 50 years, and that's supposed to be okay? Well, they knew I was crazy. Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Is this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, even I have seen it, says Yahweh. But go you now on to my place, which was in Shiloh, where I set my name at first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people Israel. And now, because you have done all these works, says Yahweh, and I spake unto you, rising up early and speaking, but you heard not, and I called you, but you answered not.
Right. Rising up early and speaking unto you, I made sure you heard these things. Why? Through one of my servants. See, Yahweh ain't finna come float down the hall and speak to you out of the wall. No. He got servants for that. That's what he's sending these prophets to do. Go and do this. When he tell that brother, I've given you power over the nations, over these cities, to build up, to throw down. What do you think they're hearing that from? They're hearing it from that man. Now, all those that have respect to persons, I don't want to hear it from that man. Then they end up getting the judgment for Yahweh. And then they're like, well, I didn't know. I didn't know. Yes, you did. But your respect to persons wouldn't let you hear it from that individual. That's why you're getting dealt with now. Go ahead.
Therefore will I do unto this house, which is called by my name, wherein you trust, and unto the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I've done to Shiloh. And I'll cast you out of my sight, as I've cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim.
So it already split up part of Israel before. That wasn't enough for us. We done already seen one part of the house get separated. You know, you don't have to be on a whole nother level of stubborn to watch Yahweh deal with one individual or one entity within your house, and to believe that you can still do whatever the hell you want to do, and he ain't gonna deal with you. Your level of stubbornness has to be amazing for you to still walk right there. You just seen him deal with one whole side of the house, and you keep doing the same thing. Now that's stubborn right there. Go ahead.
Therefore pray not you for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them.
This is where we don't want to get. You don't want to get to the point where Yahweh has sent so many people to talk to you. He has done so many things that he then says, I ain't hearing none of y'all. Don't even pray for them, because I done sent too many people to try to talk to them. I done sent too many people to try to help them. At this point, don't even pray, because I'm not hearing you. At this point, it's all about judgment and making an example out of this individual. No matter what anybody said about Pharaoh, Yahweh wasn't going to hear. Pharaoh had walked into that thing too long. He had done too many things against the children of Israel. So at that point, it is about straight punishment and getting him some glory. So Yahweh said, no. After I do what I'm going to do to Pharaoh, the whole earth going to respect me. Because they going to want to know, if this individual was able to conquer the whole earth, how these people that don't even have an army just walk up out of there and the place destroyed? So where we're trying to get as much physical might as we can, Yahweh actually gets the glory the weaker we really are. So you got people, you got Hebrews, they out there trying to build them a militia. They out there practicing. They out there on their stomach. Hut. They done gave each other name. Oh, we sergeant, this a colonel, this to that. Right, they doing all that. They out there practicing, they doing all that. Yahweh like, yeah, I'm going to conquer the whole earth with a bunch of soft hand brothers. Hey, they bunch of computer geeks. They going to tear y'all up. Y'all keep on doing all hut. Right. And he ain't going to even use now one of them. Yeah, y'all go sit down. Let me get them computer dudes over there. Yeah, the dudes with soft hands. Get them. Come on. Now watch what I do with them. See, that's how he get his glory. See? And everybody looking at Benaiah. Benaiah going to be a captain. He going to be a captain. Ain't no hands softer than those. No hands are softer than those. Go ahead, bro.
Neither make intercessions to me, for I will not hear you.
Did you finish that?
Yes.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 43.
Next book.
Isaiah chapter 43, and let's read verses 14 through 28. Remember now, Esau was a cunning a hunter. He was an outside man. Yaakov was a plain man dwelling in tents. That was the man that Yahweh chose, not the big rough outside man that we want to be so manly all the time. I'm Mr. Manly. Yahweh like, yeah. Give me that dude in the tent. Isaiah 43, and let's start at verse 14.
Thus says Yahweh, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. For your sake I have sent to Babylon, and have brought down all their nobles, the Chaldeans, whose cries in the ships.
For your sake I have sent to Babylon and brought down all their nobles. Yahweh coming to get us. But see, we got some of those who gonna come and get themselves. They gonna do all these things themselves, and they trust what they can do with their own physical hands. This is how people use their works to get to okay their evil deeds. Well, I do this and this for Yahweh, so I should be allowed to do these things. That ain't gonna work. Go ahead.
I am Yahweh, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King.
Now, this statement is not understood. I was listening to Klepto the other day, and he was talking about how Jesus was the only one. There's no one, and he created everything. You don't even really understand this statement until you break it down. I am Yahweh, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King. See, they don't understand that we're named after his son. You got Israel the land, Israel the people, and then Israel the God, the Son of Yahweh. You part of a Trinity and don't even damn know it. People are like, I don't believe in the Trinity. I don't believe in the Trinity. You are the Trinity. Read, man.
Thus said Yahweh, which makes a way in the sea and a path in the mighty waters, which bring forth the chariot and horse, the army and the power. They shall lie down together, they shall not rise. They are extinct, they are quenched as tow. Remember you not the former things, neither consider the things of old? Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen.
Right. Same thing he did before. He brought water out of the rock of flint, right? He says, I'm going to bring rivers in the desert. That land ain't going to look like it look now when you get there. And not you as an individual. Ain't no one of us going to show up in the land of Israel and it's going to change. No. When Israel, the people, together show up. So you and 7 of your homeboys go to Israel, it ain't going to change jack. The nation of Israel has to return for that to happen. Go ahead.
This people have I formed for myself, they shall show forth my praise.
Right. I named you after my firstborn son. Go ahead.
But you have not called upon me, O Jacob, but you have been weary of me, O Israel. You have not brought me the small cattle of your burnt offerings, neither have you honored me with your sacrifices. I have not caused you to serve me with an offering, nor wearied you with incense. You have bought me no sweet cane with money, neither have you filled me with the fat of your sacrifices.
If you say you honor me, where are the things that you honor me with? My elder used to say, and it was 200 people in the congregation at that time. He said, it's 35 people that do all the works. He says 35 people in here that give all the offering and do all the work. He said, I don't know what the hell the rest of these people in here for. I had never heard anything like that for in my life. And the more I started to watch, the more I started to see things, I started to understand exactly what he was saying. At first, it sounded like, man, this old man be exaggerating. This old man be tripping. Then I started to see what that old man was saying. Oh, there were some people, they would come to keep the Sabbath to fellowship for themselves. They ain't got to do with Yahweh. They was keeping the stuff for themselves, not for Yahweh. It was a nice social gathering. Interesting. Go ahead.
But you have made me to serve with your sins. You have wearied me with your lawlessness.
Right. So now Yahweh ends up having to serve you in your sin, and people exercise that when they're doing sin, and then all the while mentioning Yahweh's name. Yahweh's like, so now I got to serve you in your sin? Were you mentioning my name? Were you transgressing all these things, but then go out and tell people, oh, I'm an Israelite. And then people watching what you do. You an Israelite. Then you just crawl out that window. And you didn't come out of there with the spirit. That was a television. You came out of that way. That was not the spirit. Right. Go ahead.
I, even I, am he that blots out your transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember your sins. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare you that you may be justified.
Pleading with Yahweh is a this might be real easy to read, but it's a real hard situation to go through. For Yahweh to plead with you it's not good. Because consider what happens when we plead with one another. Sometimes when we're going back and forth and we're trying to have a intense discussion. And from time to time we may raise our voice as we're doing that. Yahweh raised his voice, you might die. That's how difficult the pleading is when if he raised his voice, you die. Yahweh started speaking and people took off running. They were like, no, we don't want to talk to him no more. And that was the nice version of Yahweh. And they took off running. You talking about pleading and he's trying to get your attention. That may not be a good situation for you. Go ahead.
Your first father has sinned, and your teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Yaakov to the curse, and Yisrael to reproaches.
So he says, since you have walked this way, then I profaned the princes of the sanctuary. These are the people that are supposed to be in control. I have profaned them because you have not done the things that you were supposed to do. So now we have where one thing ends up causing us some issues on another level. Let's go to our 1 Samuel chapter 2. And see, we have to like examine these concepts so that we can backtrack how we got into certain places. When you go down and read the portion where it says Yahweh moved Dawid to number the people. Now Dawid understood the law. He understood that, counting and numbering the people was not the thing to do. Matter of fact, even his general, who wasn't all that righteous, told him, man, why you want to do this thing? This is not a thing that you should do. But it says, Yahweh would prevail. You read that thing before he did that. And it says, Yahweh was angry with the children of Israel. Since he was angry with the children of Israel, he made Dawid count them. Then the judgment came upon the children of Israel. But from the beginning, he was mad with us for something that we had done. But on the surface, people would back up and say, you see how much trouble Dawid done got us in? No. Dawid was just the man he used to do it. He was angry with Israel as a whole. Not one man. But because he was the king, you gonna bring this on the people. So everybody want to be in control and everybody want to be in power until it comes some difficult things to do where everybody start looking at you. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 12. Now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. They knew not Yahweh.
Right. They were sons of evil doings. But their father is the priest. Go ahead.
The question is, the father is the priest. How do you know not Yahweh?
Hey man, you can read to somebody the statutes of Yahweh, but you can't make them accept it in their heart. You can't make somebody, all you can do is tell somebody, thou shalt not steal. And if that kid was like, that is interesting, Daddy. That is interesting. Is this little knuckle stealing? Did that knuckle just steal? Hey, he heard exactly what you said. But if that knuckle decided that he was going to steal, I don't give a damn how many times you read to him, thou shalt not steal. He's decided what manner of man he is going to be. Go ahead.
And the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servant came while the flesh was in seething with a fleshing hook of 3 teeth in his hand. And he struck it into the pan, or the kettle, or cauldron, or pot. All that the flesh hook brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh until all the Israelites that came thither. Also, before they burnt the fat, the priest's servant came.
Now, the fat, these are all the portions that belong unto to Yahweh. Anyway, all right? So before the things were burnt. Go ahead.
The priest's servant came and said to the man that sacrificed, give flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not have sodden flesh of you, but raw. And if any man said unto him, let them not fail to burn the fat presently.
Because that's the part that belongs to Yahweh. This is what needs to be done. Go ahead.
And then take as much as your soul desires. Then he would answer him, no, but you shall give it me now. And if not, I will take it by force. Wherefore the sin of the young man was very great before Yahweh, for men abhorred the offering of Yahweh.
So because they dealt with the offering in a wrong way, it has now caused people to hate the offering. This is what's wrong with people now, because they have watched Klepto and all these other people deal with the offering of Yahweh the wrong way. People even come into the word and they don't want to give anymore because they've watched. Now, who's the new dude? Jesse Duplantis now saying, well, I need a $53 million jet too. Yeah, he mad. Creflo got a $63 million. And they offer the same lie. I have to stop and put gas in it. Knuckle, we all got to stop our cars and put gas in it. What the hell kind of vehicle you got that you ain't got to fuel it? So for that, he need $53 million. It's because of those people that now people hate the offering of Yahweh. You have so many men that will not offer, will not do things because they watch these people play with the offering of Yahweh. They watch them play with tithing. They watch them play with that. All the people in the congregation pour, and they pull up in a helicopter. What the hell? Like this dude just get out of a helicopter? Where you even parked that at? What? But see, how these guys are dealing with the offering has now caused the people to hate the offering of Yahweh. And let me tell you something. Where you get in your biggest trouble with Yahweh is when you start causing other people problems with your dealings. See, everybody has always got into a situation where we fall and we come short of the glory that is expected of us. But when your fall caused the person next to you to have some problems, you about to have some issues with Yahweh. You about to have an angel show. Hey, I need to talk to you. What? Yeah. Because see, now your problem causing some other people some problems. Now you done got yourself into something. Go ahead.
Verse 18. But Samuel ministered before Yahweh, being a child, girded with a linen ephod. Moreover, his mother made him a little coat and brought it to him from year to year, when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. And Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife and said, Yahweh give you seed of this woman for the loan which is lent to Yahweh. And they went on to their own home.
And people really don't understand the whole concept. All right. This woman was childless. She prayed for a child. She got the child and gave the child to Yahweh. She had several more children after that. People don't understand. This was her first fruit. What we give Yahweh is our leftover stuff, but then we still want an abounding blessing. This was her first child. She prayed, I want this child, I want this child, I want this child. Please give me a child. She got a child. Here you go, Yahweh. Because of that, now you're going to have a couple of them. But she went all this time without any children. But because she dealt with that thing right, other things were given unto her. Go ahead.
And Yahweh visited Hannah so that she conceived and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the child Samuel grew before Yahweh. Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Right. So, and you know how our respective person goes. And we can read that from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, where when it says they saw this woman and they caught her in the very act of committing adultery, and they was ready to try to bring this woman to be stoned before the Messiah. And he said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Well, it was a evil judgment because they claimed they caught her in the act, but they didn't bring the man. So then there's already this double standard where the man can be a whoremonger, but the woman can't be a whore. But he can be a whoremonger. And somehow people think that that's okay. Now, whoremongers be in the same lake of fire with whores. Ain't no different part of the fire, and she ain't got an orange flame and you got a blue one. No, it's the same damn fire. Okay? Whores and whoremongers be in the same damn fire. So then somehow this is still, they laying with the women who assemble at the door. And you know, whoremongers just hang around the door, just watching people come in. Just walk. How you doing, sister? Go sit your whore self down. Go ahead, man.
1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 23. And he said unto them, Why do you such things? For I hear of your evil doings by all this people.
Right, I hear of your evil doings, but you ain't did nothing about it. So now you got two levels of things that's there. First, the whoremongering that you done let happen at the door. Then, the bigger issue with Yahweh, hey, you've caused the people to hate my offering. Go ahead.
No, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. You make Yahweh's people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against Yahweh, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because Yahweh would slay them.
So at this point, Yahweh ain't gonna let them repent because he gonna kill them. And that's what people don't understand. They think it's their doing that they decide not to listen. No, that ain't your doing. That's Yahweh saying, no. I've given you many opportunities to repent. Now, you're not going to repent. I'm going to let you finish it on out because I'm going to kill you. Then people looking around like something is unfair. It says, you make Yahweh's people to transgress. But as a priest, he's supposed to stop that. See, Yahweh is a very jealous Elohim, and don't nothing come in between that. Not family, not nothing. A priest can't say, well, I'm not really going to discipline, this individual because they're in my family. Yahweh going to show you. He going to show you what family is. Go ahead.
And the child Samuel grew on, and was in favor both with Yahweh and also with men. And there came a man of Elohim unto Eli, and said unto him, Thus said Yahweh, Did I plainly appear unto the house of your father, when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of your father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? Wherefore kick you at my sacrifice and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honoreth your sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel, my people.
Now you see, what has really caused what Yahweh is then dealing with him is how he allowed the offering to be polluted amongst the children of Israel. He hasn't even gone to the part of letting his kids be whoremongers. He said, no. See, this thing right here has caused other people a problem. See, you little whoremonger in spirit, you whoremonger, you cause that problem amongst yourself, being a whore. But this little problem right here, you let go on, that caused a problem with other people in the congregation. You about to get dealt with for that. Go ahead.
Wherefore Yahweh Elohim of Israel says, I said indeed that your house and the house of your father should walk before me forever. But now Yahweh says, Be it far from me. For them that honor me will I honor.
Right.
And they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I will cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, that there shall not be an old man in your house. And you shall see an enemy in my habitation, and all the wealth which Elohim shall give Israel. And there shall not be an old man in your house forever. And the man of yours, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be to consume your eyes and to grieve your heart, and all the increase of your house shall die in the flower of their age.
So I'm going to leave just a little sliver over there so they can see what all they done lost. Go ahead.
And this shall be a sign unto you that shall come upon your two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they shall die, both of them. And I'll raise me up a faithful priest, that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in my mind.
Right. See, this is what happens when people believe that they can hold Yahweh hostage because of whatever works they do or whatever position they hold. There is absolutely not one of us that is irreplaceable in Yahweh's system of things. I don't do what I'm supposed to do, Yahweh will be already training the next dude. Do understand? The person who's coming after him, Yahweh made him train him. The whole time he's disciplining him, he's making him train his replacement. And if you ever been on the job and they made you train your replacement, that's some hard training right there. That's hard. You know you training the person who finna take the job that you want. You know good and well the whole time you doing it. Wait a minute. Something don't seem right about this. Right. They making you train your replacement. That's what Yahweh did to him. Because he had opportunity to repent, but chose not to. Go ahead.
And I'll build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed forever. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left in your house shall come and crouch to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and shall say, Put me, I pray you, into one of the priest's office, that I may eat a piece of bread.
That I may eat a piece of bread. That is a very, very long fall from being the head priest to now your children are begging for something just so they can eat a piece of bread. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 33. But it is important for us to understand and know where the children of Israel fell so that we don't recreate those same things. So people want you to just stay all off in the New Testament and read about love all day. Love. God love you. Always love. Oh, and he loves a cheerful giver. Just give. Give with a smile. Just love. Love and give. That's all they want to talk about. Love and give. Give and love. Love and give. Give with love. Right. Every third sermon is about tithing. But if you focus all your energy on that, you ain't worked on nothing about yourself. Especially when somebody tell you, God ain't mad. You ain't got to change nothing. You can keep on being the old rotten individual you always been. Just be just rotten. And he just going to accept you because Jesus. And we want to believe that. Because that's the easy route. And we have a tendency to want to take this easy path. Well, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to accept anything about ourselves. We don't have to change anything. We don't have to try to grow. We just keep being whatever it was we want it to be and say, you know, God knew I was like that when he let me hear the word. He knew I wasn't worth a damn. So I can keep on being the same way I always been, and he going to accept me. You go ahead and believe that if you want to. Ezekiel 33, and let's start that at verse 10.
Therefore, O you son of man, speak unto the house of Israel. Thus you speak, saying, If our transgressions and our sins be upon us, and we pine away in them, how should we then live?
Right. We just grow in the sin. We just keep on letting the sin overtake us. Go ahead.
Say unto them, As I live, said the Adonai Yah, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn you from your evil ways. For why will you die, O house of Israel?
Right. So you have a lot of people that don't want to read these things of the Old Testament because they say, oh, this is all about God and judgment, and there's no condemnation in Christ. There's no condemnation. They don't understand that these things were instituted upon Israel to persuade Israel to change our doings. This is why he said, amend your doings, amend your ways. Change what it is you're doing. I don't want to kill you. I would rather that you live, and that I'm able to give you prosperous things, real prosperity in your own land. This is what I want for you. So the hardship is not to kill you. The hardship is to persuade you to walk in a better way. Because if Yahweh wanted to kill you, believe you me, you'd already be dead. He ain't got to ask nobody to kill you. Go ahead.
Verse 12. Therefore, you son of man, say unto the children of your people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turns from his wickedness. Neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sins. When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust to his own righteousness and commit lawlessness, all his righteousness shall not be remembered. But for his lawlessness that he has committed, he shall die for it.
In other words, when you decide to walk in a different direction, all the works that you have done, you have set them afire. See, this is why we have to continue to work, you know. And then you have those that don't work at all. I don't know what kind of situation they're in. Because we as individuals sometimes do dumb stuff and burn up all the works that we done already done. We've done works, we've made good offerings, and then we do something stupid and burn it right up. You just started over. But imagine if you don't do nothing. And you burn up all that. And then you just sit in the chair. That's probably not good. Because you just burnt up all your stuff. And here it is now. You counting assets that you think you got, but you ain't got those no more. Because you set them on fire. Ain't nothing worse than counting money and find out you go to the bank. The hell going on? I had some money in this account. Oh no, ma'am, you burnt that up. Excuse me? I need to talk to a manager. I need to talk to somebody. Because I know I had some money in this account. Oh, if you think that hurts your feelings, wait till you find out ain't nothing on your spiritual account. Oh, that's going to hurt more than your feelings. That's going to hurt your hind parts. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 14. Again, when I say unto the wicked, you shall surely live. Again, when I say unto the wicked, you shall surely die, pardon me. If he turn from his sin and do that which is lawful and right, if the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walk in the statutes of life, without committing lawlessness, he shall surely live, he shall not die. None of his sins that he has committed shall be mentioned unto him.
So then, wait a minute. So then in the great righteousness of Yahweh, he then gives you the opportunity on the other side to do the same thing. So now you got this pile of evil. If you turn from the evil, he also gives you an opportunity to and burn all that up. Man, you can't deal with nothing more righteous than that. What is the problem? He gives you an opportunity to burn away all the evil that you have done before. Go ahead.
He has done that which is lawful and right. He shall surely live. Yet the children of your people say, the way of the Adonai is not equal. But as for them, their way is not equal. When the righteous turns from his righteousness and commits lawlessness, he shall even die thereby. But if the wicked turn from his wickedness and do that which is lawful and right, he shall live thereby. Yet you say, the way of the Adonai is not equal. O you house of Israel, I will judge you everyone after his ways.
I will judge you everyone after his ways. Our problem is we can't see our ways. It's real easy to see other people's ways. It's very difficult sometimes to see what's the closest to you. You know, if you get all the way up to, you can have a 8-inch television, but if you get and put your nose all the way up to that TV, you can't see jack on it because you're too close to it. And if you're actually in it, you sure can't see nothing on it. But you take a few steps back and take a look at your own actions, and now you're able to see some things. Because this is where the judgment lies. I will judge you, everyone, after his ways. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month, in the 5th day of the month, that one that had escaped out of Jerusalem came unto me, saying, the city is smitten. Now the hand of Yahweh was upon me in the evening, afore he that was escaped came, and had opened my mouth, until he came to me in the morning, and my mouth was open, and I was no more dumb. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, when they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many, the land is given us for inheritance.
Right. So that whole concept that you see where people boast of their natural heritage of Israel, here it is. That ain't nothing new. We've been doing that. But we are Israel. All the covenants are made with us. So you can't cut us off, Yahweh. Oh, this ain't nothing new. We've been doing this. Go ahead.
Wherefore say unto them, Thus said the Adonai Yah, You eat with the blood, and lift up your eyes toward your idols, and shed blood, and shall you possess the land?
Right. See, people think they got a license to do things in Yahweh. Well, because we are physical Israel, because we have done these works, it is okay if I do this other evil. No, it ain't. Evil is evil. It don't matter who do it. You eat with the blood. We sit here and we watch them commercials where they talking about, oh, juicy, tender steak. And they cut it and all that. And they say, oh, it's juicy. That ain't juice, that blood, man. And the blood run right out of it in the commercial. We normally go to break the fast. We'll go to one of the little restaurants around here, and we have to down there fight with them people every year. We say, make mistake, man. I need my steak well done. And the little cook get pissed off. Say, man, you ain't got to eat the steak, bro. Just make my steak well done. Well, you want it burnt. Well, burn the damn thing then. Cook all the blood out of it. Damn heathen. Read, man.
Verse 26, You stand upon your sword, you work abomination, and you defile everyone his neighbor's wife. And shall you possess the land?
Shall you possess the land? Look at this foulness you do. Calling on my name, talking about you, Israel. Go ahead.
Say you thus unto them, Thus said the Adonai Yah, As I live, surely they that are in the waste shall fall by the sword, and him that is in the open field will I give to the beast to be devoured. And they that be in the forts and in the caves shall die of the pestilence. For I will lay the land most desolate, and the pomp of her strength shall cease, and the mountains of Israel shall be desolate, that none shall pass through. Then shall they know that I am Yahweh, when I have laid the land most desolate, because of all their abominations which they have committed. Also, you son of man, the children of your people still are talking against you by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that comes forth from Yah. And they came unto you as the people cometh, and they sit before you as my people, and they hear your words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goes after their covetousness.
Right. So this is why Yahweh say, hey, showing up on the Sabbath ain't enough. See, people show up to hear the words, but they ain't gonna do nothing. My elders used to talk about it all the time. The folk that show up, it was folks that hated him, and they'd be there before anybody else. Why do you keep showing up? I mean, they showed up early. They wasn't gonna do nothing, but they showed up. They wasn't gonna change nothing, but they showed up. They wasn't gonna give nothing. They wasn't gonna do nothing but take, but they showed up. And he said, why you keep coming here? He had done watched them long enough to know they wasn't going to change nothing and they wasn't going to do nothing. They had already came with the mindset that they were going to have. And they kept that mindset 5, 6, 7, 8 years. He said, why you come? Go ahead.
And lo, you are unto them as a very lovely song of one that has a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument. For they hear your words, but they do them not. And when this comes to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them. And
it's a shame that it has to be that way, that things and punishment has to come to pass before people understand that they have been dealt with by a servant of Yahweh. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Because see, when you start talking about walking in truth and in spirit, you have a whole nother aspect that you have to deal with when you deal with these New Testament only people. If you don't deal with anything out of that, they really don't believe any of the things that you are saying are even valid. They believe that the New Testament trumps everything and nothing else in the Old Testament is even relevant. But they don't understand that the things in the New Testament coincide with the things written in the Old. Matthew chapter 5, and let's read verses 17 through 24.
Think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Now, this is the Mashiach talking. And the first things that we hear when we turn on that television, and I tell you, Klepto must be on by 6 channels, because every time I turn on, I see this twisted doctrine where the law is done away with, and now he done made his own laws. The law of provision. The law, what the hell is that at? What commandment is that? I don't remember a lot. Thou shalt not provide. What the hell is that? He's making up his own stuff. He's going to take Yahweh's commandments and put his own in there. And people show up every week to hear them live. Tell me more, Pastor. Doctor, tell me some more lies. We love it. How you take away Yahweh commandments and add your own? But we love to hear it. Don't prophesy unto us right things. Prophesy unto us smooth things. Say that nice stuff to me, Pastor. Say that stuff to me. I'll write you a big check. Right. We teach people how to rule over us. Because when they do it nice, we write a big check. Thereby letting those people know, this is how you rule over me. Keep telling me that niceness. I'll be back. Right. Go ahead.
You know, brother, it's becoming more and more apparent that all of these preachers are taking this word and just put a slight twist.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not paying attention to that slight twist at the end, you'll think that what he's talking is scripture.
Yep.
There's another one out there, Geno Jennings.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I kind of stay away from this stuff, but I'm starting to realize that, no, we got to pay attention, because line upon line, precept upon precept, we're going to run into these people. And we have to be prepared,
right,
not for the debate with them, but the person in earshot. Because I heard this man just take a simple thing and say to a guy he's going up against, show me in the New Testament where Jesus ever told his disciples to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. The guy says to him, it's in the New Testament where he says, pray that your flight not be in the winter on the Sabbath. The twist that he keeps putting is, I want you to show me where he says word for word, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Finally, the guy had to say, no, he doesn't say that. But the Mashiach says, I've come to do my Father's will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching where these people are this slight twist. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss the slight twist in what's going on nowadays.
And that's all it is, just a little bit of twist. Geno Jennings is the other one that say he's an apostle. See, he's self-taught. See, that's another one of them that say, see, I'm an apostle. Nobody taught me. I'm an apostle. You missed that part where Saul was already taught before the Messiah showed up to him. He already was taught fluently in the law before he was called by Yahshua. And see, that's another one of them, he have all these debates.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon anybody to come in here and debate with me, come on, let's go. So that's that. So they got that Jerry Springer gospel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, you know, why, and then you come into their place because, you know, it's going to be done in his, you know,
His
anybody
arena.
got sense enough to know, look here, you got to be careful fighting a man in his yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
See? So, but all of the battles seem to happen in his yard, you know, while all his people sitting in the back, Jerry. Right. Read, man.
Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
That's what he should have read. While he's sitting there, tell me where it said, tell me what verbatim. See, this is what the people, and we got some Hebrews that do the same thing. Show me where it said baptism. Show me where it says such and such. Man, you got common sense. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Has everything been fulfilled? And if you get some food that say yes it has, then go to the Old Testament and read in Job 3, several other places, where the sun gonna turn dark and the moon gonna turn blood red. So tell me what day that happened, Pastor. What day was that? Because I ain't seen this yet. You told me all has been fulfilled. And then what? No, go on, crank that car up, man. You keep, come on, crank it up. Go on and crank it up. See, folks try to pigeonhole you into finding something exactly where it gives this right to all be fulfilled. Has all been fulfilled. We got things in the Old Testament that ain't even happened yet. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
That's all he had to read. Shall break these least commandments. What's the fourth one? So you got this dude, he have people in his congregation, their head are covered. I think they got the women separated from the men, but then they'll still keep Sunday. They'll talk about the Sabbath, but they won't show up on the Sabbath. And then they love to use that name Jesus, because if you use that name Jesus, you can go to the bank with that. You can go to the bank with that name Jesus. You tell them, look, I'm trying to build a congregation. They said, well, we don't know if you're going to be able to get this money. Jesus! Here go the money. There you go, right there. Yeah, there's power in that name. You use that name, you can get you some money, Jack. Right. Hey, popular, bro, that is that's the name. We got Hebrews who know that his name is Yahshua, but they use Jesus because they know that's going to bring the money. They know better. Then the same brother call himself by a Hebrew name, but then still call the Messiah Jesus. Man, you don't get no more foul than that. You can't call my God out of his name, but then gonna give yourself a Hebrew name. No, we got some problems right there. Go ahead.
And shall teach men so.
Right. And where did we learn? Where were we taught to go against the commandments? We learned that at church. Didn't no pimp or thug on the street pull me to the side and say, hey man, forget about that Sabbath day. Wasn't that one of them thugs taught me that? And that one of them thugs taught me how not to keep the holy days? No, I learned that in church. Go ahead.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
That's all he needed to read. And the subtitle says, relation of Christ to the law. That's all he had to read. Go ahead.
For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Right.
And today, the scribes and the Pharisees are the very televangelists that are on television. And it is interesting because they would like for you to believe that we are the scribes and Pharisees, that we are the ones that talk about the law. But when you look at the hypocrisy of how the scribes and the Pharisees dealt with the law, they dealt with the law for everything that they could gain. That is how the Pharisees operate. That is how the Sunday morning prosperity preacher operates. He deals with the law for what he can financially get out of it. Go ahead.
You have heard that it was said by them of old time, you shall not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment.
Right.
But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of judgment.
Right. And some people think they got a cause, but that's their wicked imagination that tells them that they got a cause to be angry with their brother. And see, when you start talking about this word and they start telling you about the law, Christ has now expounded upon the law. In the Old Testament, you had to actually kill a brother. In the New Testament, he said all you got to do is be angry with a brother who has done nothing to you. And people do it all the time. I done seen women get mad at a woman because she had on the same dress. Ah, that witch. But they don't use witch. It'd be a B in front of that. Can't believe she gonna wear the same dress. You know when you bought it, there was 70 others on the damn rack. What made you think you were gonna be the only one to have it? There was 69 others over there when you grabbed that one. Go ahead, man.
And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council, but whosoever shall say, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has aught against you.
So you bring your gift, you didn't remember that the brother has an issue with you. How you gonna remember it? Because you know what the hell you did to him. So this is where people pull out that little punk apology. If I have done something wrong to you, I apologize. Well, you know the knife is still in my back that you put in there. So how in the hell are you gonna tell me if you did something wrong? You know exactly that you did something wrong. You know what the hell it was. Matter of fact, don't that knife got your name on it? But see, if you give that little punk apology, if I've done anything wrong, that way you can not really acknowledge what it is you've done wrong. That's faking that repentance. Go ahead.
Leave therefore your gift before the altar and go your way.
Now see, Creflo ain't gonna read this. Creflo, no. Come give your gift. And you can clear it up with your brother some other time. You know what I'm saying? We got to get that money. Yeah, just wave your bless, wave it, that offering. Right. Throwing money all on the floor. Where the hell they do that at?
Club.
Right, that's strip club thought process. I ain't never seen nowhere else where money is thrown on the floor except the strip club. And yes, I was there. I wasn't always a priest. Go ahead, bro.
First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift.
First be reconciled to your brother, then come and offer your gift. They're not going to tell you that, man, when they're trying to get that money. Bring that money. We'll worry about you and your brother some other time. We'll worry about peace and righteousness some other time. But bring that money. This is what's caused people to hate the offering. The very thing that was done in the Old Testament is still being done now. So now you got people that half want to give. They want abundance from Yahweh, but they half give. Why? Because they don't watch these modern day Pharisees play with the offering of Yahweh. And it's done poisoned us. But we got to be reprogrammed and deprogrammed, lest that old poisoning cause us a problem with our new walk. Go ahead.
That was it.
That was it right there. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23. See, it's like that thing when things happen to children in their young age, it ends up affecting how they operate in their older life. But at some point, you have to address those things, because you can't go before the throne of Yahweh and then offer these excuses as to why you stayed that same type of individual. When Yahweh said, why you didn't do such and such? Well, when I was young, such and such. All right, yeah. But you were born again, right? So why in the hell you keep telling me what happened to you when you were 5? You were born again, right? So why in the hell you still work according to what happened to you when you was 5? Why you still give according to you what happened to you when you was 5? Why you still telling me that? But you told me you were born again, right? Yeah. But you still dibble and dabble in the old man when it's convenient for you. Right. Matthew chapter 23, and let's start that at verse 1.
Then spake Yahshua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moshe's seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not you after their works, for they say and do not.
Right. They're hypocrites. They are modern day hypocrites. They'll say these things, but they're not going to do them. They'll tell you to give your last dime. They're not going to do it. Go ahead.
For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves would not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad the phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
Right, and that's them Hebrews there that put their fringes all at the bottom of the garment. They enlarge the borders of their garment. Fringes go in the 4 quarters of the garment. They put them all around the bottom. They got fringes on everything. And you got people that didn't know no better, so they done bought all this fringe material and just sewing it on everything they got. Brother go swimming, they got fringes on the damn swim short. And the sharks biting at them every damn time they go by. You know what I'm saying? Because, hell, you look like a damn fish in the water with all this right here moving. And keep on playing. Jumping in the water with them damn fringes on and one of them sharks bite a hold of you. Yeah, and the law calls you to end up with one leg because you walking around with some fringes on your swim trunks. Read, man.
And love the uppermost rooms at feast, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not you called Rabbi, for one is your master, even the Mashiach, and all you are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. Neither be you called masters, for one is your master, even the Mashiach.
But see, you know, you find out that people love titles. People love the title. And the bigger the title you give yourself, the more respect people give you. Go ahead.
But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither go in yourselves, nor suffer you them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore you shall receive the greater damnation.
For you devour widows' houses. When you go, and it's a sad situation that most of the time you find this on like BET on the black station, where they go in and they doing the fake healings and all of them things. Where you find that at? It's the poor black people that they making all their money from. The poorest black people is where the richest congregations are. And those old ladies are giving every dime they have. And they are rich off of they're devouring widows' houses to make themselves rich. Go ahead, brother, you had a question? Man, at the end of the day, anything we have, the nations buy out. You realize that we don't have any black clothing that we come out with. Have you figured out that they don't stay black? There was a time when FUBU, man, that was a thing, boy. For us, by us. We thought we had something. Bought it out. That certain things that we own, hell, we don't own BET no more, but they still call it Black Entertainment Television. But it's white people own BET. Everything that we do is being directed by other people. And that's a part of the curse. That's a part, and we don't want to acknowledge that we are under the curses of Deuteronomy 28. But whenever a people has to constantly deal with other people, we spend so much money. It's like we have our own economy here, yet we still don't own anything. You'll find people that pull up in a $200,000 car, but still don't have a place where they could give another brother a job. But you've spent $200,000 on a vehicle, but you still don't have any way of helping anybody else. That's a part of the curse. And those curses are there upon us that no matter what we do, we're going to end up having those issues until we get out of this this place. Even when you deal with this temple. Amen. It was Edomite. Herod was an Edomite. We're talking about other people learned how to control us was through our worship practices. So that was happening even in the time of the Messiah. They said, have you come at this time to restore the kingdom to Israel? We were being ruled over then. So it is not a strange concept. This is a part of the punishment. And everything, either we create it, it doesn't matter. There are things that our people have created here that you won't find out until that little 28 days of Black History Month. You'd be like, what? Our people created that? Yeah. And when they want it, they just take it. That's a part of being a captive. That's not necessarily a racist thing about black people against white people. No, that's what happened to captives. When you work for a company, you sign a contract, whatever you create belongs to them. That's called intellectual property. When you're a captive, everything you create belongs to the slave master. See, and we haven't recognized that, so we keep thinking that things are being taken from us. No, man, that's their intellectual property. You still a slave on their official documents of this country. See, we think something, they have to vote every couple of years to allow us to continue to have the right to vote. See, people don't know that. You think you just got the right to vote. No. At any given point, they can say, you know what, that's enough. No more voting for your people. See, intellectual property, when you own something, anything they create is yours. So one way or another, it goes back to the slave master sooner or later. The state of Georgia is a slave state. If you are not married to a woman and you produce a child, to this day, in the state of Georgia, the child belongs to the mother and the slave master. That's right now, 2018, to this day, that law is still there. If your mama and daddy was not married, you belong to the slave. This is why the father has no right in the state of Georgia. See, that's why mama still rule over daddy. That's slave antics. And it still work right now to this day. Go ahead. Yes, it is still right now. And you got brothers paying child support that still can't see their kids. Why? Slave state. You got to spend $1,000 to go through a legitimation process if you were not married to that mother legally, that woman, when that child was produced. Otherwise, you have no rights. So that concept goes so far and wide, brother. It is ridiculous. Go ahead.
You know, just to add to that, and everybody knows we're the biggest consumer. So if you can either get the things that we are going to buy or provide to us the things that we like. I mean, funnily said, if you create a company with things directed towards our people, it's best if you put another nation in your business instead of you sitting in that window and watch if it don't make money. As long as you sitting in that window, we do not support each other.
You have to ask yourself, how do Chinese people know everything we gonna get before we get it? You go to the Chinese store and they got everything. How y'all know we like that? We got everything you need. You want yaki? We got yaki. What the hell is yaki? They got the weed before you get the weed, before you even know. I know you like that Virgin Remy. I got for you. How the hell you know what we like? When the clothing come out, they got it before we know we like it. And it be in every last one of them stores all across the place. People making $1 kajillion off us. Everywhere you go. Consider, if you're going to buy black hair product, 9 times out of 10, you went to an Asian. You don't run into no black people selling black products. The Asian telling you, no, you know like this. You get this one. Make it soft. Nigga like soft. Right. Come on, man, for real. They'll mistreat you in the store and we go right back. We go to a store where they say you buy, you go. We go right back. That's the last time I'm coming to that place. You ain't finna tell me you buy, you go, and I go back. Those are curses. See, most of the effects of the curses, we so busy walking in them that we don't even recognize them. Blindly go to a club and pay $100 for a bottle. You know they sell that damn bottle at Sam's for $7.99. That's $7.99. You can get that discount. $7.99. But to look a certain way, we'll go and stand on the sofa at a club. $100. Now everybody like, ooh, they spent $100 for that bottle. $7.99 at Sam's. Right. Go ahead, man.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourself.
Right. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you compass sea and land. That's why they said they need a new jet. See, because I said I got to keep refueling. I'm trying to go all across the world to get more proselytes. Right, right. So you can make them twofold more the child of hell than you are. Go ahead.
Woe unto you, you blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor.
Right, right. That's why they got an ATM in the front of some of those churches. So, you know, if you run out of money, you go get you some more. Let's go take care of this business. Go ahead.
You fools and blind. For whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold? And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing, but whosoever swears by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. You fools and blind. For whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifies the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar, swears by it, and by all things thereon. And whoso shall swear by the temple, swears by it, and by him that dwells therein. And he that shall swear by heaven, swears by the throne of Elohim, and by him that sits thereon. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithes of mint.
And this is what the scribes and Pharisees of the day, this is all they deal with. You pay tithe of mint, anise, and cumin. Go ahead.
And have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
If the law is nailed to the cross, how are there weightier matters of the law? See, you have some of us that want to knock one part out because they don't want to deal with tithing, so they do away with tithing. He has not done away with any of it. He said, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites, for you pay tithe of mint, anise, and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law. Go ahead.
Judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought you to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Right. So he didn't take away either one of them. But see, because we get burned listening to these people. I done got burnt by them. I done run up there and wrote them $1,000 check so they can give me a prophet lie. I done paid $1,000 for a prophet lie. Yeah, it burnt me for a while too. I was like, man, this is a scam. But then am I going to then punish Yahweh my Elohim because somebody else was running a scam? Am I not going to provide for Yahweh's house because I done got scammed by a scammer? See, that's what happened. You have some people, and I've seen this, where people have an accident, one car accident, and never drive again. Knuckle, please. I got somewhere to go. I can't be sitting around here. I ain't never going to get in the car again. When I've had a car accident, a car hit me and hurt me. Now I'm so sick I can't drive no more. When knuckle, please. I got somewhere to go. I can't be waiting on everybody to come pick me up. That's that thing where we allow ourselves to get stuck in a gear. You better change that damn gear. Go ahead.
You blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow at a camel. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess.
Full of extortion and excess. Whenever somebody tell you that they deserve to have a $63 million jet, that it is in your best interest that they have a $63 million jet, that is extortion and excess. But we like it because we keep hope alive that one day we might have a $63 million jet. See? Right. Go ahead.
You blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Even so you also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets.
And that's a lie. Because as we start speaking this word and we start speaking this word in truth, they start slaying you. And they would be the very ones that would persecute the prophets if they had been in those days. Go ahead.
Wherefore you be witnesses unto yourselves, that you are the children of them which killed the prophets.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12, and let's read verses 33 through 37.
Verse 33, either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit.
Right. So we can't then say that we are servants of Yahweh, but then we're going to do all of these things and then say that, oh, it is given unto us to do these things because we are servants of Yahweh. We got leeway to do evil. That ain't going to work. You're going to have to pick what kind of tree you're going to be. Go ahead.
O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Right, and some of our judgment is going to take a long time because we done said a lot of damn words. Every idle word that men shall speak, you shall give an account for. And sometimes we talking when we really should be shutting up. And it gets us in the deepest amount of trouble. And now we got that whole generation who like to write their words down and post them on the internet. And that stuff don't never go away. And they be done forgot that they said that stuff. And it come back on them 4 or 5 years later. You remember you said this? You testify against your own damn self. Being on the internet, putting all that stuff on the internet, these kids is testifying against themselves. Because they turn around and pull all that stuff back up. No, I know you didn't like this person because I read your post 5 years ago. What? So yeah, we've been monitoring your post for 5 years. What? Right. Long time ago, my mama told me, be careful what you put in writing, baby. So why? Because they can always come back to what. When you talk, the only people that can testify against you is the people who actually was there, who heard it. But when you write it down, you give the ability for anybody to testify against you. Matter of fact, you testify against yourself because you wrote it down. This generation is in all kind of trouble. Because they can't do nothing without telling everybody. Just went out to get something to eat. Post. Man, that was good. Post. Man, that my stomach hurt. Post. Think I gotta go to the bathroom. Post. Damn, so we got to hear about the meal and what the meal, when the meal came out and when it went in? Right. They done told all their business. So then when something happened, they can't say, well, I wasn't there. Yes, you will. We see it right here. There you go right there. And then you had that location on your phone, so we already know you was there. Your location on your phone was right there when you posted. Go ahead.
For by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned.
For by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. So that means we just cannot let any old thing come out of our mouth just because we feel some type of way at that particular time. Let's go to Matthew chapter 25. And see, these are Christ's words we read. See, this is how you tie up the Sunday morning hypocrites, because they will come against everything you read them out of the Old Testament. But they're going to be very hesitant to deal with any of this writing in red. They are not going to fix their lips to come at you when it comes down to these words. And trust me, whatever it is they're dealing with, you can tear them apart with this writing that's in red. I guarantee you. I don't care what concept it is. You can tear them apart with the Old Testament and with Christ's own words. Go ahead, brother. Matthew 25, and I'll start at verse 31.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats.
He shall separate them one from another. See, we have this situation where everybody is gathered together. We have all the mixed multitude, and everybody, all these nations, these people living here and these people living there. Now we're like, no, each nation got a place where they was given. And when you get right down to it, this daughter of Babylon don't belong to nobody. So when Yahweh destroyed, it don't belong to nobody. Wasn't nobody supposed to be here anyway. That's what's going to send everybody back home. Now go back where you came from. See, all the Europeans know exactly where they come from. You might look at one person and you say, oh, well, they all look the same. No, that person's Irish. That person's British. And they got their family tree and they crest to know exactly where it is they come from. Go ahead.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Adonai, when saw we you an hungered, and fed you, or thirsty, and gave you drink? When saw we you a stranger, and took you in, or naked, and clothed you? Or when saw we you sick, or in prison, and came unto you? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of these, as much as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Right. And the doctrine that we've heard on Sunday morning, he doesn't do this to anybody. The doctrine we've heard on Sunday morning just says, well, this may happen to, maybe Muslims or somebody like that. So that way they can okay anything that they have so-called done. Decline. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 42, For I was an hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and you visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Adonai, when saw we you an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto you? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it not unto one of the least of these, you did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
All right. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go into Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and let's read verses 8 through 14.
Verse 8. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yes, he gave good heed, and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further, by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Yet, what we hear on Sunday morning is the commandments are done away with. That's a different doctrine. Go ahead.
For Elohim shall bring every work into judgment, and with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
For everything shall be manifested. Every secret thing shall be made manifested, whether it is good or whether it be of evil. As it is written, Yahweh seeketh such to worship him in spirit and in truth. And we have to examine ourselves to truly see if we have put forth that type of effort. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.